streaming because I got nothing else better to do. And kind of got miffed last night. I was having a good Let's Play going on with Dragon Age Inquisition. And as usual, YouTube kicked me out. So YouTube might kick me out of this one too, depending on my Wi-Fi and depending on how bitchy YouTube is at the moment. But tonight we are playing Dead or Alive 6. Why? Because I'm bored. It's late. Well, not too late considering I'm a vampire. I'll be up till like almost the crack of dawn. Still kind of early, but I'm just gonna play a little bit of some DOA6. Who knows? I might pop in another fighting game. But just to give you some background history concerning this game, I've been playing Dead or Alive since the game dropped back in 1996. Let me find my TV remote because the volume's kind of loud. But yeah, been playing this game since 1996. This series of games, and yeah, I would say I'm a fan. I'm a diehard fan. I own or have played the majority of the games, even the spin-off games, you know. Not only the fighting games, but the Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball games. I think I own and played majority of the Ninja Gaiden games. Yeah, I believe I own all the fighting games. Yes, I own all the fighting games in the series. So to me, this was pretty much, you know, my 3D fighting game of choice. I love fighting games in general. I own many different fighting games. I own complete runs of fighting game series. Tekken, Soul Calibur, DOA, Virtual Fighter, King of Fighters, Street Fighter, even off-filter stuff like, you know, World Heroes. You know, I don't have all the Killer Instincts because I had an Xbox One, but every time I went to go pick up Killer Instinct, stores were always sold out. I really wanted to get the rare pack so I can get the first Killer Instinct and Killer Instinct, you know, Gold. But that was always sold out too. So it's like, you know, I play a number of fighting games, number of versus fighting games. I play so many fighting games, I know lore of fighting games. Not a shit ton of lore, but just enough to say I know shit. I'm not a master about, you know, all the knowledge behind it. You know, I got a couple of friends who are really into the Street Fighter lore to the point where it's like, you know, they speak about it and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Cause I don't follow the Japanese lore, but my friend, he followed the Japanese lore, like the Street Fighter series and everything. So that's not my thing. So I leave him to it. You know, whatever he says, I disagree with him. That's just how it is. But I'm going to use Mila tonight. A lot of DLC, and Team Ninja's dirty for this. They put all her sexier costumes in the DLC part. Even though I heard they were giving out free costume tickets. I don't know how that works, but since I couldn't download the update, and I don't have no freaking room on my PS4 hard drive, I think I got 42 PS4 games, and I only got the terabyte PS4. So that ought to tell you that, you know, I don't have a lot of space, you know, for shit. On my hard drive. I have to delete games from the big games. And the first thing you noticed about Mila's outfit, you know, she doesn't have a lot of revealing outfits, you know, compared to other female characters. But let me give you a brief rundown of Dead or Alive 6. I'm sure some people are familiar with the controversy behind this game. I had to take my thing out of my ear. The bullshit behind this game and why it ended up being the way it is. First and foremost, I believe it was sometime last year, I think, I don't know, either the late summer or early fall of last year, that Team Ninja, or was it 2017? I don't know, it's been a while, announced that they were no longer going to be supporting, you you know, as far as you know, tournaments for Dead or Alive 5. And you know, Team Ninja didn't make any announcement of there being a Dead or Alive 6. So a lot of DOA fans were kind of scared, you know, confused. Some people in the, you know, the FGC were like, you know, finally, thank God, we're getting rid of the titty, you know, series. You know, DOA series is no longer put in games. It's like, you know, but lo and behold, you know, we got a surprise, you know, trailer letting people know that this game is going to, you know, Dead or Alive 6 is coming out. They showed a little fight video of I think Kasumi and I think Hayate, and that was that. You know, the community got excited. You know, finally a new DOA game is coming out, and I was like, okay, another DOA game coming out. Okay, cool. I wasn't overly excited just for the fact that Dead or Alive 5 was not my favorite DOA game. I have a love-hate relationship game. You know, love and hate relationship with that game. I was not liking it. I will talk about those reasons later. But I was not liking that game for various reasons. I'm not gonna lie, it was some gameplay specific things going on with that game that I did not like. But as far as Dead or Alive 6, you know, Shimbori, the director of the game, you know, was announced, people were excited, and then I think it was late fall of 2018, he did the most batshit crazy thing you can do in this era of just, you know, social media bullshit, social justice, warriors, social political climate, and, you know, the get woke, go broke era of gaming when it comes to promoting your product. Basically, he said something almost similar to what the previous director said, what was hinting at. You know, he pretty much said he was going to lower the fan service in this series of games. Basically, you know, just lower the amount of sexiness in the game. They were gonna, you know, go a more, you know, different route with the series and blah 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 whoop-de-whoop. And so it was like, okay, you know, this shit again. It's like, why are you gonna do this when that's pretty much this series' bread and butter? It's what this series is known for. You know, the fan service. You know, without it, you know, this series would not have no notoriety, no name, nothing. And it's like, it mind boggles me, is like, why would you want to stop or nerf, you know, basically what makes this series prominent in the first place? And so he said in the interview that he wanted to take the Marvel Comics route of, you know, trying to lower, you know, shit in the game. And I'm like, oh my god. I said, does he realize what's going on at Marvel? Marvel right now has been losing money as a comic book company. If you go by the movies, fine. The movies make billions of dollars or whatever because a lot of normies and average people go see it. I said, but as far as the comic books, majority of them sell, like if you go by the top 300 comic book charts, below like 50,000 copies. That's pathetic. There's only like maybe 4 or 5 titles out of the hundreds of comics Marvel puts out a month that sell over 100,000 copies.
I cannot.
The comics industry is basically trying to keep itself on life support. You know, it is not doing well because a lot of the, you know, SJW bullshit and the political politics has deep claws in the comic books industry. And so he wanted to add that, you know, that kind of bullshit to the DOA games. And it's like, are you nuts? Are you freaking nuts? Once he said that, I knew this game was going to fail. I knew it was. And so the irony is, you know, it was the company Tecmo had to make a statement saying, you know, You know, we're not going to totally get rid of all of it, you know, and stuff like that. But the biggest statement was, I think it was months before the game came out, you know, they showed video and gameplay stuff. I know at, I think at EVO, like last year. And, yeah, there was no boob physics of certain female characters, so me and a lot of people, like a lot of fans of the series who like the game, not only for the gameplay, but also the fan service. And that's another thing, the community's kind of split. There's some people who play the game strictly for the gameplay, which is fine. Basically, DOA is a very pick-up-and-play, flashy 3D fighter. It is. It's Virtual Fighter with counter hold was not as much adept as Virtual Fighter. That's DOA. It is what it is. But it's a very fun game to play. And so, you know, there are people who like it for the fan service, and the people who spend the most money on this series buy it for the fan service. And if you say it's not, you're stupid. You're stupid and you don't have a lot of information. The reason why the fan service sells so much is with Dead or Alive 5, that game didn't come out the gate selling a lot of copies. But what made that game a shit ton of money was a lot of the costume DLC. Team Ninja, Tecmo Koei made a fortune because they released thousands of costumes that you can buy via DLC on Dead or Alive 5. And they even had partnerships with like Attack on Titan, Senran Kagura, and some other things, you know, in that game that they made costumes and stuff for as well. So they made a fortune off of costumes. And then they released a free-to-play version of the game, which was also a money sink too. They only give you like 2 or 3 playable characters a month. They rotate it, but if you want to get all the other content, you would have to pay for it. I'm here to fight. Which some dumb people did. Instead of buying just a whole new game. Especially used to get it cheap. But no, people are dumb. People like, you know, easily accessibility, you know, easy convenience, you know, and they figured, you know, I'm only going to play this game once in a while with friends. Why would I want to buy a brand new copy? Well, it's like if you spend at least $20 in DLC, you could have waited until like a year or 2 and bought the game used. Because the servers are still up. You can still play the freaking game online. So I still think you're stupid. I'm sorry, I've just called it like it is. And so, continue with the thing about this game. Is, all that hoopla went out. You know, they were trying to hype it. And so, I think it got previewed, like a full version of it got previewed, I think, EVO Japan earlier this year. And, you know, Shimbori and them, they kind of backtracked. Team Ninja, I mean, Tecmo was like, so Team Ninja was like, you better put all the digital physics and whatever in there, you know, back in the game. And they went to, granted, it was EVO Japan, and I think they had like a game demo, and they had these 2 Japanese bikini models, you know, Burst, Busty, and Kirby, that were like, you know, being humorous and hosting the game. They were like doing live things of the jiggle physics, showing how their boots bounce and how the jiggle physics in the game is. And then they had a gameplay demo with Shimbori himself. I think he was playing bad, and he was just power bombing freaking Neo Tengu to the point where his face, like it was in between her legs, like he was eating her out. And freaking EVO, you know, the real people who have EVO, they cut the DOA stream. And they switched to over to Markman and Tasty Steve, and they looked all offended and all butthurt. And I'm like, really? Really? They looked all butthurt, and they said, due to core values, does not represent EVO and all this other shit. You had all that bullshit, but basically it bit EVO in the ass. It did. You know, they took down that tweet talking about that shit. Because that was just it was like, this is the same people who showed, you know, DOA at EVO before, hosted, I think, DOA6, you know, a little combo, I mean a tournament, you know, stream, and then you add into the fact that they, you know, people play Mortal Kombat, all that gratuitous violence, you know, and then you have like the jiggle physics in every fighting game. Street Fighter, even though they kind of toned it down, because they didn't want to get, you know, deal with SJWs complaining and whining about, oh, Chun-Li's overly jiggle boobs, or, you know, zoom up close up of Cammy's crotch with a dynamic camera angle, or you know, have the camera see, you know, Armika slapping her ass. Yeah, they edited all that shit out. Street Fighter 5, all that was edited out due to a patch. And so yeah, the internet pretty much clapped back on Evo about the whole core value shit. But the funny thing is like, you know, when like game reviewers were starting to review the game, they noticed that that Team Ninja pretty much was like, you know, they went back, they added all the fan service that, you know, they said they were going to take out, and to a lot of you know, journalists, they were like, oh my god, they went back to the other sexy stuff or whatever, oh my god, you know, they got all bent out of shape, and I just thought it was funny. And so I was like, okay, there's no for this game yet. You know, I pre-ordered the game and bought it. And let's just say this game at launch was very bare bones. Didn't have any tag modes, didn't have a lot of modes at all. It was like Street Fighter 5 almost that bare bones. Almost. I have not bought it either. I don't know how it is. But yeah, pretty bare bones. You paying $60. And a lot of people were disappointed, me included, when I bought this game at launch. It was very disappointing. It was like you had a story mode that just looked like it was just thrown in last minute of the game. It was like the graphics are nice, I'm not gonna lie. The graphics are very nice and pretty. But you know, just content, like single player content. They didn't even have lobbies. They didn't have online lobbies for this game, which was even more sad. And then they had this whole thing where you had to unlock costumes. They had to patch this because it would have took you forever to build up points, because the only way you could do it is through the mission challenge thing. And I think in their minds, oh, let's add longevity to the game by giving them like 300 missions that they would only get like just fraction of points to unlock costumes. And there's not that many costumes in this game, you know, on disc. Well, I don't know, the DLC could be on disc, but I'm talking about unlocked that you can unlock. And so, you know, people were like losing their shit, and I think about a month or a week later, they added to where it was easier to get points to unlock the rest of the costumes for the characters. But outside of that, other than the initial bad, you know, public relations, the bad PR with Shimbori coming out saying what he did, that got a lot of people just ignoring what this game would have been, and then they saw the preview footage and seen how, you know, the characters look hella plasticky, and which they do, because the lighting is hella freaking bright as hell. Yeah, showtime! And there's not a lot of stages in this game either. There's not a lot of stages. It's like Team Ninja just stole this game together. And you know, the sad thing is like we already spent money and bought it. It was funny. It's like after about a month after it first launched, which was around April, I traded it in. I was like, what's the point of me having this game? It wasn't until like maybe a couple months ago that I got it again. And so after a series of patches, some gameplay tweaks, you know, they added more DLC characters, more costumes, of course, for DLC. It's like, I'm not gonna lie, the game is fun. It's actually more fun to play than 5 is. I'll be honest, the game is not bad. Just the basic gameplay of the game, it is not bad. It's fun to play. It's pick up and play, just the way DOA is supposed to be. I do not like the meter mechanic. Your meter, you know, controls your sidestep. Your meter controls, you know,
so nice to meet you.
What is it?
Hey,
You know, they introduced like break blows or whatever in DOA5, but it also gives you an easy like one button combo with a full meter or basic meter. There's like you can do creative stuff with it. You can maximize damage with it. Typical fighting game stuff that fighting games do, especially 2D fighting games, where you're gonna get your bulk load of your damage and strategy by manipulating and having gameplay mechanics with the meter. DOA does that. In my opinion, I'm a 3D fighter purist. I do not like playing. I play 3D fighting games because I don't like dealing with meter. It's like if I want to play a game with meter, I will play a 2D fighting game. I will play KO F14 if I want to play a heavily dependent meter-based 2D fighting game. Or I'll play Injustice 2 or Street Fighter 5. You know, those games I'll pick up when I want to play meter-specific gameplay. You know, fighting games. But when I pick up a Virtua Fighter or a Tekken or a Soul Calibur, you know Soul Calibur got the Soul Gauge, and Soul Calibur 6 does have meter now, but it's like the meter, they kind of nerfed it compared to 5. Soul Calibur 5 was very dependent on that meter, but Soul Calibur 6 not so much. And but yeah, you can still play it without the meter in this game. You can play the game like good old DOA, you can, but if you're not taking advantage of everything the game has to offer, you're going to get mollywopped by just better players, because you're going to be nerfing yourself at that point. So it's like, in my opinion, you know, I get into these arguments with younger players, and you know, they feel differently because younger players are young. You know, this is the stuff they grew up on, this is the stuff they're used to. So they don't mind playing meter-based fighting games, which is fine, which is perfectly fine. They get butthurt when you say you're against it. They do. I do like it. That's great. I'm just telling you why I don't. It's like, and then the funny thing is, when I was, you know, active, or when I go places like to, you know, anime conventions where I sell my art and play these people in their fighting games, and we'll have discussions, and I tell them, and it's like most of the time I beat them with old school tactics. I do. I beat them with basic old school fighting game fundamentals, more so just depending on meter, burning meter, you know, whatever. But yeah, I will bump into those either the wannabe high level players or the high level players, you know, at conventions, and I'll just get mollywopped, you know, just playing in casual, you know, they'll beat the shit out of me. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a pro fighting game player. I'm not a wannabe pro fighting game player. I play these games for fun. I play them a lot to the point that, you know, I play them okay. I play them good enough to have fun. You know, I play them well enough to where I know what I'm doing. I know what my opponent's doing. Even if they're at a pro level, I know what they're doing. It's just, I just don't, I haven't put them in the lab and stop it. You know, it's like, I do play these games a lot. So I'm not afraid of going against somebody who's going to hand me my lunch. But the funny thing about DOA, if you're at an intermediate level, like even just me, you can hold your own against people who are good at pros. Because DOA, you have the counter system. If you guess right, you can use the momentum of the game. It's mostly mind games. You can hold your own against somebody who's been in the lab for like hours a day, every day, trying to dissect the frames of this game. Granted, you're like, you know, 8 times out of 10 you're going to lose. Maybe 9 times out of 10, depending on who you play. But after a while, you know, you will seek a win. You will get a win. You will get an easy upset win playing Dead or Alive against people who talk a lot of shit and think they're good. This game is chess, not chess. As much as some, you know, high-level players want to think of this game as chess, no, it is not chess. Tekken is fucking chess. There's just too much front-ended gameplay options in that game. I might play that after I go through some rounds of that. Oh shit. I will say one thing about this game, is probably the most balanced DOA game I've played in a long time. probably the most balanced DOA game, but you know that changes every time they patch and update the game. It changes. But as far as what the game is now, they added lobbies. I think I only played this game maybe 3 or 4 times online. I do play Dead or Alive 5 on online buddies a lot, and you know I played with some a few times on here. Since it's a new game, you know a lot of people jump into it. Like I said, it's fun. It is. It's like it's easier. You can pull off. You can kill somebody 60% of their life bar just pushing buttons. I'm not gonna lie. That's how easy pick up and play this game is. I'm sure some people will be like, "What are you talking about, man? This game takes a lot of skill." No, this game does not take as much skill as 5 do. So 5 was tailored to the high level players. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the gameplay options. That game was dead or punish. It was dead, you know. Like punish or die, they should have called that game because just the offensive and you know defensive capabilities you had, and the STEM system was so heavy in that game. Yeah, people can just murder your life bar so easily in that game. Same thing in this game too, but at least they got rid of some of the more obnoxious critical bursts, which broke the freaking triangle gameplay system. And I tell people that all the time, as much as they enjoyed it. I'm like, pick up Dead or Alive 4 and Dead or Alive 3 and get back to me. That's what I did with one dude at a convention. I was like, alright, let's go play this game. It's like, yeah, you're whooping my ass in 5. Yeah, that's fine. I said, but this is a whole different game. Hop in 4. Let's play some Dead or Alive 4, which was my game. Dead or Alive Ultimate 2, you know, that was my game as well. He was shit out of it. He could not hang. He bitched in mind the whole time about shit he could not do because he didn't have those options. Those options did not exist in the earlier games. It was the older games were a lot of reads, a lot of guessing, and basically, you know, knowing what your opponent throw at you. You know, you also didn't have you know, tricky characters like Rig in the game and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, and it's like if you mash, you were getting murdered. Counters did damage in the earlier Dead or Alive games. You get countered, it's gonna hurt. So yeah, he tried. He got mollywopped, and I said, I told you. I said the older Dead or Alive games, I said they made them a lot easier in the recent games as far as just getting more damage. It's like you can get damage in older games. You can because the life bars were smaller. That's why counters did more damage.
What I need is strength, not some stupid title.
Yeah, they introduced Diego in this game.
You ready?
I am not a melee pro. I'm using basic melee shit. I don't even know all what you can do in this game. I haven't played in the lab. I'm playing Dead or Alive 5 melee right now. Basically, my version of Dead or Alive 5 melee. Granted, I'm playing against computers just on hard. Hard in this game is basically normal difficulty. Shoot, my cousin went to the second hardest difficulty on this game and only lost twice to the computer. That ought to tell you how hard this game is, and he was using the same attack over and over. The AI in this game is dumb. It is so dumb. It is like the dumbest AI alive. Damn, work, buddy. Good breaking fire. Oh, he got me. Oh, that is the Blake throw. Right there, I just had to put the freaking R1 button 4 times, and that bust out that little combo that ended in that attack. You can counter it. You can use meter to counter that. You know, you can do a break, you know, counter, but it doesn't do any damage, but it just, you know, brings momentum back on your side. Oh wow, I boosted up her score a little bit more. I'm surprised that I got such a high first place score with Kokoro. Like, Kokoro is not even my main in this game. Lei Fang's my main, and she's sitting at the 8th spot. Let's see what I unlock now. I could probably speed up these fighter levels and whatever. I play the game on the hardest difficulty. But yeah, it's they expect you to play this game a lot. If I was younger in my younger days, I sound like an old man. If I was a younger man in my old days, you know, I probably would have been playing this game every day. If this game came out before 5, you know what? I think I would enjoy this a lot more than 5. If this came out before 5, you know, it would still probably get some shit, but not as much shit, because it'll be the prettiest fighting game on the market. Because 5 came out during the Xbox 360 PS3 era. But yeah, this game looks pretty much graphic-wise really no different. It just have extra spit shine. Probably some larger environments, but I could put in 5 right after this, and it's like graphically, it's not a huge stretch from 5 to this game.
I'll end this quickly.
Not a big stretch at all.
Hey, no hard feelings.
Been playing this game for half an hour already. Got paid mode, hard difficulty. I guess I could just fool around and see what kind of dank shit I do in the world of Maximilian Dude. Which is funny because I played Maximilian Dude when he was playing King of Fighters 14, like a couple of years ago. You know, I played him on Twitch when he was playing. I got into this lobby. Yeah, he beat the shit out of me, but you know, I put up a fight. He was like, I think all he claimed to play my hat is he was just talking about how annoying my body was. Oh God, I hate playing Bayman. I hate playing good Bayman players. I hate playing against a computer Bayman. This Bayman is just counter damage. Motherfucker. Give me this stuff.
Let's go.
Let me break you. I wish her freaking ground attacks did more damage.
Right on.
Because if that dude Bayman gets you on the ground and start doing his combo breaks, massive damage. It's just not fair, man. And then Rakudo, I played him back in the day. He uses Bayman. He's a pro DOA player. Played on what, DOA Ultimate 2. He was using Jan Lee and I was using Lei Fang. And I got a perfect on him in the first round. And then he just beat the shit out of me the rest of the match. Like I said, it's like DOA is one of the few fighting games where if you just play the game a lot on a basic, just out of the love of playing it, you will get good at it. You will. This game is not hard to play at all. It's like you can beat a good player, you can beat a pro player. It's like you will have a bad day, you will have a bad match if you guess wrong. You put a, and if you're pressed, and if your opponent doesn't adapt quickly, you will have, oh my God, Kasumi. Oh, she crouched.
Here we go. Let's go.
She wake up kick. Ah. So yeah, you become good at DOA matches. You play it a lot. You know, I got that freaking what do they call it, legacy skill from playing it for years.
Right on.
Which is why I can go online. I can beat most beginners. I can beat most players at my level, and I could beat, you know, a handful of players who are higher than my level. But, you know, as far as beating, you know, the cream of the crop, you know, the pros, no, I am not beating these fools in these games. Not in 5, not in 6. I think the biggest name that I've beaten that was going to offline tournaments who was building a name, I think was Hollow Ichigo. And early on, my Lei Fang, before they nerfed some of their lows in 5, and he was just using alpha at the time. I was beating the shit out of him online. And DOA6 last round. Nah, more like Ultimate, because last round they changed shit.
Get ready. Fight!
Oh, there it is. I was supposed to go, but this is my basic combo up. Yeah, that was my basic combo in 5. It was weird. I had a better record with Mila than I did with my main Lei Fei. Dead or Alive 5. I had a better record with this chick than I did with Lei Fei. That's because there wasn't a lot of people who played Mila. And I think Mila did more damage, you know, had longer combos, you know, had unpredictable ways of getting in that people had a hard time dealing with. Plus, you know, her 50-50 drag game threw people off. Because with Lei Fei, you know, she has some throws or whatever, but you know, most people know what's coming, especially against my Lei Fei. My Lei Fei was very basic. My Lei Fei was basic, but it works. So... But Mila, yeah, I had a winning record with her. More so than my main character. And I don't consider myself a good Mila player. I consider myself just going with the flow, using her 50-50 throw game, which they kind of nerfed. I loved her in 5. Like Vanilla 5, she was semi-busted. It's like, once we changed this to where it's like when she kicks you in the gut, of course you should crouch. But no, you got a free grab. You got a free grab after that. But they nerfed it. The only time you get that free grab anymore is like you get off a side step. I don't know if you still do it. I have to try it. But yeah, that was the only way. It's like they nerfed that so hard. Pissed me off. I wonder what happened to Dr. Dog. Dr. Dog was like one of the earliest, very vocal members of the high-level DOA community. He was like very known for his tech. I think he wrote a strategy guide for Dead or Alive 4. I think I heard that he didn't have he had minor involvement in 5. I don't know, I forget. But I know he helped write a strategy guide for Dead or Alive 4. And me and him used to have some epic debates in the GameFAQ forums. Even when DOA Central before it got turned into 3-step job, we had some epic debates. And yeah, he was preaching the gospel about Mila. You know, when Dead or Alive 5 was dropping, you know, was about to come out. You know, I think not after it came out, you know, he was exploring tech with her, you know, and her mix-up and some of her ground techs and stuff like that. But a lot of people were on, early on with Dead or Alive 5, I think they were on Jay and Lee's nuts because of his Dragon Gunner. It's like a throw where he basically like kicks you in the leg and causes you to stun and crouch. Oh yeah, they got Mai Shiranui as a DLC character. I bought her for Dead or Alive 5 last round. I wish they would have just made her on this, in my opinion. Like, I don't even know why they made her DLC. It's like, I would have loved to have her on board. Oh shit. Yeah, Mai was kind of busted in Dead or Alive 5 after she launched. You know, very fast. Not a lot of damage, but she can build up damage really quickly. Oh wow. Got me with the needle. Got me with the blink, bro. Yeah, I tried to play her, but it's like I see her, I try to play her how I played her in KOF. It's not working. And then but when I started playing her how she plays in maximum impact games, the little the 2D with the 3D sprite KOF games, then she made more sense. But how they how they integrate her moveset into 3D fighting game was interesting. It was pretty cool.
Looks
I'll
fun.
do this. Speak of the devil,
Give
I
it
was
your
just
all.
talking about Jan Lee. And I think he got
I'm here to
buffed
fight.
with the last patch, not the recent patch. I think he got launched today. Or launched a few days ago. He tried to grab me. Jan Lee got really good pokes and good stuff. I used to hate playing really good Jan Lee players in Dead or Alive 4. Even in Dead or Alive 5, he was very annoying. Not as annoying as he was in 4, though. Not as annoying as he was in 4, in my opinion. You know, I could deal with Jan Lee in 5. I could not deal with Jan Lee Shenanigans in 4. Give me that. Break your bitch. Alright, we got ducks. Oh, yeah, hard is not hard at all. Hard
That was a
is
great
normal.
fight.
Hard is normal in this game. Yeah, that's another thing. In the older DOA games, the AI was a lot more aggressive, especially in 4. People used to complain. Like, dudes would pick up Dead or Alive 4 or complain how hard it was. Cause I ain't gonna lie, the computer was vicious. The computer would counter. Like, if you kept on, like, just pushing buttons, like, half your shit. And when they did combos, yeah, they did, it's like they didn't do,
It's so nice to meet
max
you.
combos, but
Yeah,
they did
I'm
combos
here
that
to
did
fight.
damage to the computer. AI in the older games. It's like, so I pop in an older game, it'll probably take me 10 minutes to adjust to the AI. It'll take me a few matches to adjust. You know, I can't, especially playing these newer games where, you're not punished for pushing buttons. Other than that, you'll get throw punished. Which a lot of players don't do. And that's how I beat a lot of people online. Throw punishing the ass when they do unsafe shit. I don't know if she has air grab or what. I should get more damage out of that combo, but I
Here
don't.
we go. Let's go.
Break your horn. She go for low. Oh, she did. I don't know that the computer in this game is smart enough to where I'm going to. Good. Yeah, Kokoro's AI is very effective. That's the only way to really play Kokoro in this game. You gotta go in. You gotta go in and hope your opponent does not like to sidestep a lot. Yeah. Her attacks do not track very well. And I believe, wow, so Mila took the 7th, 9th, and 10th spots. Yeah, I'm not doing max level stuff with her, nor have I been in any stages that have a lot of walls where I can knock people in the walls to do like harder combos. Let's see, will I go up the level again? Yo, just short. Just short. Ah, part. I should be unlocking another part. Come on, I'm just short. How many times do I gotta play this game? It's like before I was playing it, I was unlocking. Then again, like I was playing, like I said, on the hardest difficulty. I was unlocking whole outfits. Did I just start again? I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. I should have said no to get me to the main menu. No, I got the main menu. Go to the DOA Central. Go to wardrobe. Okay, see, that's another bullshit thing. It's like I'm in my wardrobe, and then it's like all these games are linked to the online portion of the game. And it's like, it's sad because nowadays you're not even getting a full game. Sometimes, or like the rest of the data is online. It's like you're buying $65 just to play the game. It's like, granted, I get business logic where they're saying, well, that's what we've been doing in years. You know, you're paying us money to just play the game. It's like, yeah, but we own the game. You know, we could take it home. You know, we can resell it. You know, we can trade it. We can let people borrow it. But nah, they're taking your consumer rights out of your hands. By by having half the game up over the server, you had to log online to see it. So that's my only issue with downloadable content. If there was a way to monetize downloadable content, then it wouldn't bother me so much. It wouldn't bother me so much with digital only content, if there was a monetary value on it. A secondary market for content. I think we will get to that point. It's going to come eventually. It's going to come. There is going to be value. Like PT, which was like a demo, and only people that own it is the people who downloaded it, kept it on their console, kept it on their PS4s. That's the only way you'll be able to play that game. As an outsider, because Kojima, he don't work for freaking Konami no more. That's the only way. That's the only way you are going to play that game, is to get pay money for somebody's PS4 who has it, or get access to an account and then download it. That's the only way. Let's see. Vanilla stages. Okay, here's the characters. So they give you all these titles and other bullshit, like all this filler. I don't know, call me jaded. I am jaded with video games. I am. Like, if I was back in my early 20s, and no, not even my early 20s, yeah, just my 20s in general, I wouldn't be so jaded about everything. Just the way everything is. It's like, it's funny, I got a cousin who's 26 years old, and he's excited about everything. He's still that mindset where everything's just cool and badass, and I admit, for him, it's a great time to live in. It's a really good time. I'm not gonna lie, the time that I went through, which was really the 90s, where I spent my 20s, was really good as far as video games. There was a lot of huge, titles. A lot of fighting games, 3D games were coming out. It was transferring from 2D to 3D. You had, I went from Super NES to Sega Saturn to PlayStation. You had N64. So you had pretty much the foundation of what modern gaming is now. In the era, that was pretty much my prime era of gaming. But my prime era of gaming was the freaking generation after it. My prime era was Xbox, PS2, and GameCube. For me, that is my Mount Rushmore of gaming. Like the early 2000s, loved it. Still love those games. I got a lot of those games are in my collection, because to me it was like the epitome of not only just I would say graphics are better now, but the graphics at the time were really good. Even they hold up to this day. Graphics, on the Xbox and PS2, they kind of do still hold up to this day in the GameCube. But not only that, but just the content. Our culture as a country at the time was very balanced. It was very balanced. It wasn't nuts like basic censorship and stuff that they're doing and stuff in games these days. It was like, nah. It was like the late 90s to early 2000s. It was a clusterfuck when it came to content. It was, that's when you had the GTA, the Dead or Alive, beach volleyballs. You had violence. You had the outlaw sport gaming cities where it was just crash humor. You had a Playboy the Mansion game that came out. You still had kid games. Mario and stuff still did their thing. But you also had, mature games that had their mature rating. You had funny games. You had the Leisure Suit Larry had a very funny as hell game that came out in the early 2000s. Magna Cum Laude, in terms of content that right now would be considered offensive. People will try to not get that game to come out because they feel the content is too expensive, too offensive to them. So there's just a lot of silliness in terms of the culture. A lot of people were kind of down on this game, saying, "Oh, you went back to the messed up content, the sexy content. They think anything sexy is sexist." And yeah, it's just bad. But back in the early 2000s, I would say from, yeah, pretty much like the launch of the original Xbox and PS2 and the GameCube, for me was like my heyday of me just enjoying video games as content. But you know, all that went to basically floop in hell. You know, I think around, I would say really things didn't go batshit crazy until probably around 2014, 2015, when we started getting hints of people trying to change the culture and the content of video games. That's when shit kind of went batshit crazy. But yeah, people, that was Dead or Alive 6. I can't do the story mode just for the fact that, like I said, if you just came in, they cut out the feed, so they won't have you view the story mode. I'm streaming this off my PS4, people. I don't have this rigged to any high-end PC or have any kind of, you know, streaming equipment to, you know, stream that part of the game. I also don't have the recent update, which is why you don't have the other like stuff on the menu, like to buy costumes and shit. And because I don't have room on my hard drive for the recent patch. That's why I am online, but because I don't have the recent patch, I can't play this game online unless I download the recent patch. Which is quite sad. See, now to tell you right now what my ranking is in this game. Like I said, I don't play this game a lot online as far as ranked. Yeah, I basically rarely play this game. You know, as far as like online, it's not my cup of tea. It's not my favorite DOA game. It's not a bad game. As a game, it's fine. It's actually good. Content-wise, it was very lacking. It was not worth the $65 you buy for it new. It's funny. The only thing I got out of that $65 that was of value was the freaking steel case that I got when I pre-ordered. It's like, yeah, that was some bullshit. It's like, oh, you pre-order, you get a steel case to put your disc in. But yeah, but you bought the game. It didn't even come with a manual. You didn't even get a manual with this shit. There was no manual. I got a steelbook and this bullshit. But yeah, a lot of games don't come with manuals, so yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, this was just a small let's play of me playing Dead or Alive 6. For those stopping by or viewing it, thanks for stopping by, and I am out.